Wednesday, September 3rd at the town office. Call the meeting to order. Nothing to add or remove from the agenda. So the first thing we'll do is review and approve the meeting minutes from August 20th's normal meeting. Has everybody had a chance to review them?
I move that we approve them.
All right, I'll second. All right, any further discussion on the minutes? All right, all those in favor of approving the minutes from August 20th meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against? So it'd be, we have two warrants, warrant 5 and 5P to approve for payment.
I'll make a motion that we approve for payment warrants 5 and 5P.
I'll second it.
Right. We'll have a second for Paul. Any discussion on them? The 5 is general expenses. It's a little over $245,000. Half of that is the first half contribution to the capital fund for this year, $122,500, as well as half of the fire department's operating expenses, which is $55,000, and half of their capital fund, which is $20,000. So that makes up a good bit of that $245,000. And 5P is payroll, $10,656, which is right in line with what it normally is. Any further discussions or questions?
The only question I had, but Chris isn't on, was there's one in there for, I think, gravel crushing.
Mm-hmm.
Is that coming out of the general fund or our crushing account?
Interesting. We'll send them an email. I saw that too.
Mm-hmm.
Was it gravel crushing or just gravel?
It said gravel crushing.
Gravel crushing. Right. Normally he puts. Dave Jocelyn is now here with us. Can you hear us, Dave?
Yes, I can hear you.
Me?
I can hear you. Who's you?
Skip.
Who? Oh, Skip. Oh, it's Skip. Yeah, we got you, Skip. Can you hear us fine?
Yeah, I could hear the whole thing before, the last 15 minutes, but I couldn't get into your meeting stuff. Here I am.
So Dave Jocelyn and Skip are both on.
Okay.
I will send an email to Chris to see where that's coming from.
Okay.
Crushing. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor of approving warrant 5 and 5P, say aye.
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 All those against? All right. Visitors and public comments. Everybody here for library?
Yeah.
Community center.
Community center / library, that which is where we're at. Okay, well, let's do it. So we did get something this afternoon from Samuel Bledsoe. Is he here? So he had some ideas. I did talk with Randy Hicken last week for a couple of hours here at the town office. And I did talk today with Catherine for probably an hour. So kind of got inputs from Lydia's friends and Randy. Obviously you all were here last week.
Right.
And we got Sam's input. So Randy's not here, but Randy's more than happy to get some help here. So, there's only 2 of them left. He has no aversion to a reorganization. In fact, he thinks it's probably a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
So from the community center side, that's sort of where it stands. Doesn't mean it's been disbanded or anything yet, but it's not a thing that Randy has any issue with.
Okay.
And I talked to Catherine about the ideas we talked about last week, of trying to find something that is a hybrid that might have one trustee on it, maybe one Friends of Lydia, but I don't think that's required. So, do you guys have something that you want to talk about from a couple weeks ago?
Well, we had a meeting last week and we talked about it, and the main idea was that we still have an empty position on the trustees, that we would appoint somebody until the next election. And that person would be the liaison for the building.
Okay.
And the Dummerston Community Center. And they would have the responsibilities for building maintenance, and they would have quite a few people who expressed interest in joining a committee specifically for maintaining the building.
Right.
And also a lot of great ideas came up regarding just revitalizing the community center as a community center.
Right.
So there seems to be a lot of enthusiasm for this combined board, and whatever we need to do. I think we have to talk about action steps. We also, in preparation, read the building inspection that was done in 2023. Learned a lot about the current state of the building. We're not really sure how much of the items that were of concern were addressed by the community center. Things like water mitigation with gutters and windows and things like that needed to be addressed.
Well, we'll get that stuff.
I think just about 99% of that was addressed. Because
Yeah,
there's
I don't think
complete
the water
drainage put
was-
around the building.
Yeah, around it, but I didn't see any gutters, that's why I was wondering.
Yeah.
The other day, Dina and somebody else was standing outside the building and a window just decided to pop out while they were standing there. So Randy came and hammered some plywood, so we still do have, the building still does have window things and general maintenance that needs to be addressed.
Okay, that all makes sense. The lease with the community center is actually supposed to be renewed yearly, which I don't think has actually been yearly.
I think it's always just automatically renewed.
It's
I
automatically
think it
renewed.
says in there, it automatically renews if
Right.
no changes are made.
So your idea of appointing somebody who would want to take over is simply the building person, making sure the bills are paid, the lawn is mowed, the oil is ordered,
That's right.
is going to be a good first step, because I asked Randy when he wants help, like if we find somebody who's willing to step in and do that, if that person is either on the board of trustees, which I had thought about, or somebody that would be appointed would join the community center board and essentially be a one-person building person. Either one of those works fine.
Right.
But I think the day-to-day, week-to-week activities of the building need somebody to do it. And if we have somebody that would do it, I don't know if they have to be appointed. I think they could just join the community center board, as the lease is sort of still in effect.
Yeah.
They would essentially be doing the same thing. It would just save the step of appointing somebody. Doesn't mean that we can't. But I think we could just have somebody on the community center board. The other things that have to be looked at are, we just have to do a review of what type of library it is. So there's two types of library in Vermont. If you look at the laws, it's like Newfane's is a different setup than ours, because it's a
We're a
private
municipal
library.
library.
Right, we're a municipal library, so we'd have to figure out what the state says has to be done with the municipal library. Do we have to create a commission, like a conservation commission or Prospect Hill? Well, they're board of trustees, so they don't count. But make sure that whatever steps we have to do to create that happens, as we then bring people and appoint them to that board or that organization.
Right. Now, as municipal library, if we actually had a building, the actual building, that opens us up to a lot of grant opportunities for capital improvements, which are not currently available. I mean, you as the select board can certainly pursue those grant opportunities to maintain the building, as it's a town-owned building, but that hasn't been done to date. But having a public library in there does open up a lot. If I was doing some research today to find some grants, and I did see some out there. So we might want to consider that. I mean, there are upgrades that the building certainly needs, like heating and cooling and things like that, which the library can't do because we don't have a building. We can't do that.
What other inputs do we have? Alright.
For us, we're here mainly to find out what's been going on with the building, the community center. We retired, which I guess we shouldn't have, but we did. So we have no idea what's been going on or what hasn't been. We really don't want to see the building sold, or we'd like to keep it as a community center for the whole town to use.
And that's
just the purpose.
And that's the goal, right? I mean, me personally, my vision is that the library can have the two front rooms, and it becomes a library community center, or
Right, and that
community
is
library,
our-
whatever you want to title it.
Yeah.
With
When
the
we
community
spoke,
rooms
that's what
being
Ted
available.
said. Yeah, the same thing. I'm sorry, I didn't say
Yeah,
talk.
that's good. Dina? Jan?
Well, the library is a community center, and the library has been providing community programming, community activities all summer long. I can count on one hand the number of events that the community center has had in the last 5 years that we've had in the last month. You know, more events than that. A library is a community center. Our experience over the last 5 years has been that the community center has been acting as a building manager and a landlord. And of the various people who have expressed interest in a newer organization, some of those people have experience with building maintenance, and some of those people have volunteered to step up and do and manage scheduling of the resources in the building. And some of those people have extensive experience in nonprofit management and fundraising, all things that a community center needs. And this community center, in my opinion, has not had, you know, for as long as I've been around. So I'm excited at the prospect to sort of get some of that stuff going. It occurred to me today that, I'm not sure if this is true or not, but I want to put out there that a library, in case this is not abundantly clear, is about making available community resources, right? We share resources with the community. We collect resources so that each individual doesn't have to buy their own resource. And if a resource that a library has is, for example, a meeting space, then we'll want to make that available. And we'll be able to do that by creating a policy around meeting rooms, right? Every other library that you look at, you will see they have a policy about how to use the meeting space, who can use the meeting space, how much does it cost to use the meeting space, when is the meeting space available for people to use? And a policy can be applied consistently, not we're going to charge you money because we don't like you, but we're going to make it available for free to you because we like you. These are things that the library has experienced in my last 5 years of being there. Things were like, we wanted to use a room in the community center, but we couldn't for a fermentation program that we had. And we had like an unsafe number of people cramming into our one little small room because all we had available to us was those 4 walls, right? So that's why we've been so anxious to be able, and all of that leading up to, we're going to put a room divider down the middle of your children's library.
We covered that.
Yeah.
We got it. The idea that the building is run by a library/community center group would alleviate a lot of that, right? And again, that group, as you said, would have a scheduler, person doing building maintenance, person doing fundraising, all of those things.
That's right.
There just wouldn't be a lease, and the town would essentially oversee the payment of bills for mowing and heating oil, things like that. Just to throw a wrench into the works. So let's say we go through this first step. Don't be scared. Let's say we go to a first step where we have a board. So you run the community center.
We were.
Or you were.
Yes.
What if after a year of trying this and it works and it goes well, what is the taste for just getting rid of the building and turning it over to the library and making it a library with a community room where there's no more community center, but the building's still there, the building's being maintained. There's a lot of history that I wasn't here for, right? The building, they wanted to sell the building, so the community center board was created with the understanding that they would be self-sufficient and wouldn't come asking for money and things like that. That's still a problem, right? In this first step.
We haven't heard anything about the community center.
Right, but if the roof needs to be redone, the community center and the library, and a year from now, some new board doesn't have $35,000 to re-roof the building. But the town owns the building, so we're not going to let it fall apart. So, could this be a transition to something else in 18 months' time? Or would this be an endpoint and we see how it works and we just come back and talk about it in a year? Or whatever it is from when we get this going, which if we have somebody who can take over the day-to-day, I think that'll help.
Right.
While we sort out what are the rules, do we have to do anything different since the money's going to reside with the treasurer and the warrants and everything else? We have to have all that stuff in order.
I personally would like to see somewhat of a business plan,
Yeah.
material business plan of how bills are going to be paid, how things are going to be done.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of ifs in this,
There are.
and I would like to see some type of business plan.
Yep. Well, we'll work on that. We'll get a bunch of people together to do that kind of stuff. So as we're doing this, we can see what the plan and the organizational structure will look like. And we'll take on as the board, we'll take on what do we have to do to transition this. But then we need a group of people to come up with this is how we're going to go about doing it once it's in place.
One thing I was envisioning is, and this can't happen tomorrow, but this could happen in March, is that we change the name from the Lydia Taft Pratt Library to the Dummerston Community Center and Library. One organization, right? One organization could have one board of trustees. It could be a larger board of trustees than what we presently have. It would have one mission statement, right? I took a stab at one. I'm going to read it to you. Ready? It's like one sentence. It's the mission of the Dummerston Community Center and Library to enrich lives and strengthen community by engaging the informational, educational, cultural, and recreational needs of the Dummerston community through the provision of accessible public space, innovative programming, diverse library resources, new technologies, and competent professional and volunteer staffing. Right. So it's a long sentence.
It's a good one.
It's a long sentence, and what it is it's a modification of our library mission. Okay, basically, I put making available community space #1 instead of making available resources, right? Because people want a community center, and that's great, and that's what we're in a position to make happen. So anyway, the only reason I'm reading that is to get out the idea that like a community center and a library mission, what we actually do, it's not that different.
That's right.
It's pretty much the same idea. But the other thing I did want to say was, as far as paying the bills go, if the bills were coming to Lydia Taft Pratt Library, I'd be happy to put them on our warrant and they could get paid once a month that way. I don't know that could happen until after we make whatever change we're going to make in March. So for the short term, the bills would have to come to wherever they've been coming, and someone would just have, I don't know how those would get paid, but like it wouldn't be hard for us to just add them to our warrant and have them get paid that way.
Right.
Right. We still don't know exactly how much it costs to maintain that building.
Randy's he has the records for the last 3 years,
Okay.
4 years, 5 years.
That's
He says he's gonna bring me a box of stuff.
Okay.
So we'll get the operating expenses of the building for the
Yeah.
last 3 years, whatever to look at. 'Cause that's gonna be all part of budget planning.
Yes.
We're just gonna have to figure that out. Whether we expand the board of trustees or come up with a group of 7 people to do this that aren't necessarily elected, that's all open. Either way, we're gonna end up at the same point, I think, which is a group of people who are gonna take over the process of the whole building. And as part of the deciding what we have to do, what boxes have to be checked, depending on what there is, if we have to have a town meeting to make such town meeting to make adjustments to whatever we're doing before March, then we will, right? Plus, I probably want to give everybody else in town a chance to kind of, the hope is that whatever group is working this over the next month, I don't really want to have an informational meeting where it's like, here are 27 options. I don't need a bunch of people in the room choosing 27 options. We'll be there all night. People are going to discuss colors and fonts and shapes and things like that. what I think we all want to present is kind of a unified, we think this is the direction it should go. Here's how we're going to do it. And this is how the building as a whole will look maybe a little different. And get people to have buy-in on that. Now, people may not like it. Fair enough. People may like it. And it gives everybody a chance to speak up.
Right.
If they're like, I'm really against this for whatever reason, they can say that. So there are a couple other things that have to be in there.
Is the intent that the community center will remain self-sufficient and not be asking for additional money from the taxpayers?
That is the intent. So that's going to be, we're going to figure that out once we see the operating expenses. So again, let's just imagine round numbers. If it costs $10,000 a year, $12,000 a year to run the operating expenses of the whole building, the cleaning, the lawn, all of those things, that's essentially what we're paying in rent right now, right? We're giving that to the library who's then giving it to the community center. Well, there's no need to do that, right? Just keep the money, pay the bills when they're due. What has to happen though is there has to be a plan for whoever this organization is to start fundraising using the room for who knows what, family events. As you point out, who can rent it, who has to rent it, who doesn't, right? We like to have access to it, obviously, if we have town meetings or special town meetings. Any town organization should be able to just book it as normal. I use it for the cribbage club. It's not a town thing, so we pay. We pay $30 a night. That's fine. So raising additional money would then go into that pot to start building a capital fund, right? We give you 10,000, you use 10,000. Give you 10,000, you use 10,000. Hopefully over 3 or 4 years through fundraising, suddenly there's some money in there. It's $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 in there. But that's how active, we'll call it just the organization, like the mafia, how active they are in using it for fundraising.
Right.
Somebody's out there's like, listen, I know people that'll use this. I'm gonna put an ad in the paper. Do you need a space? Because that's not getting done now.
Right.
There are events that are there, but it's really kind of word of mouth.
Yeah.
So much like the fire department, that's somewhat how you build capital funds. But that's a question that's going to come up when we have a little session. Because there's people in town who don't want to spend any money on it. There's people who do, and those two may never meet. So we're going to have to put up with the decision, come up with a decision that maybe makes everybody unhappy or everybody happy.
Just gonna say, Gretchen Benjamin, forgot my last name. It's my married name. I just wanted to say for fundraising purposes, like there's only so much money, so much capacity in the town, and so much people that want to give their extra money to the community center library. But there's also, I think if we brainstorm together as a group, we'll be able to find preservation funds that are statewide or New England wide or national, depending on the age of the building and who wants to preserve it. So I think there's preservation funds, there's library funds outside of this. Obviously, you found a lot of library funds, Dina, this year that didn't come from Dummerston.
Yep.
And I think there's a lot of options if we kind of broaden our search, but that would all get included into this business plan that we're talking about. And I think the business plan isn't just for the town to see and agree that we're doing it properly. It's also for us to make sure that we're holding ourselves accountable and having that action plan.
I mean, this is similar to the fire department discussion we had. Paul Adler's online about the auxiliary to do fundraising, right? So the firefighters are busy. They have actual jobs. They have training. They have firefighting to do, which I think they're doing now on a brush fire on Route 5. So they're busy, and so the auxiliary, the fundraising aspect of it, the golf tournaments, the raffles, we needed to build a cadre of people who are willing to step in and start doing that. And that's kind of what this organization would be. If one of those people are like, you know what, I know how to write grants, I know how to find funds. I may not be able to come to your meetings, but I could do this.
Right.
Or like they said, I could do building maintenance. I got a list from Catherine of people who had also stepped up.
Yeah.
The building maintenance person may be somebody who's really handy, but who also knows other people and understands what needs to be done in the building. So that group, whatever it ends up being, is just going to revitalize the idea behind the building as a whole. With the library's interests front and center as well as community center. So it's not there's no division. There's a group that's like, this is what we're going to do.
Right. And that's pretty much why we wanted somebody on both boards?
Yes.
Because it's supposed to be a unified project,
Yes.
where everybody's on the same page.
And as we know, again, if we had a member of the Board of Trustees and a member of the Friends of Lydia, if those were 2 of the 7 people, because you can get people who want to do stuff like, I don't want to come to meetings. I don't want to sit through meetings. I don't want to worry about minutes. But I'm willing to help. Those are the people that you need to tap into, because they just show up and like, I love doing A, B, or C. Let them do A, B, or C. And whatever interaction they want to have, that's up to them. And so I think the Friends of Lydia meets normally right before the trustees or the same night. Is that right?
The trustees recently changed their nights and now it's on the
I
same
can't
night.
trust those guys at all. I can't believe we call them trustees. So, you could probably configure it so that 30 minutes before the Board of Trustees meeting, the new body kind of meets,
Yeah.
talks about what's going on, and the people who aren't Board of Trustees can head out. But even if not, there's a member from the Board of Trustees who can bring the information to the board and can bring the information to Friends of Lydia.
Right.
I mean, that's one option, but a different option would be just to invite, our meetings are open to the public. Anyone can come.
Yeah.
So any of those people who are interested in this bigger project should be coming to those trustee meetings, and maybe they won't be trustees until the point where we can expand our Board of Trustees, but they can start, getting involved in the projects that they're interested in getting involved in. I mean,
Do we have any Board of Trustees people here? Dave's here.
and Linda,
And Linda, yeah, of course you. I know you're there. Dave's not here. Dave got bored and left. But I mean, we talked about this last time, and the Board of Trustees wasn't really interested in taking it on as a full-time.
Not the 4 of us.
Not the 4 of you, right?
But with all of the people that Catherine reached out to and other people that we've been speaking with, to your point, they have certain skill sets and they would like to apply them. They're not necessarily a Board of Library person, what I mean? But they have their interests. So what you were saying before about having a dedicated few minutes of each meeting to talk about what their interests are, and then they go away and do what they want to do, and then we do what we need to do.
My concern with expanding the board while pushing back on it is how many seats do you have now and how many are filled?
We have 5 seats and 4 are
4 are
filled.
filled.
Yeah.
So if we expand the numbers, somebody's gonna have to come in and get an application, get signatures, run for town office. There's a lot of things they have to do to be on the Board of Trustees.
Right.
A non-elected board makes it a little bit easier for people to come and go. Now, maybe
That's
the way
true.
it's set up is like we do with everything else. We would appoint people to that organization. It just makes it a little bit smoother than altering the election ballot for the Board of Trustees. Doesn't mean that's what's going to happen, but then it lets the Board of Trustees deal with the library functions, the budget for the library, things like that.
I'm pretty certain that Marvin wants to serve on the library Board of Trustees and that he will be coming and asking to be appointed until he can be elected in March. If we're talking about expanding the board beyond those 5 seats, that is a bylaws change, and the bylaws change will have to be voted on at town meeting. We'd have to have that written up and on the agenda and have it voted on at town meeting. So we couldn't officially have more trustees before that happened, but people could informally, like I said, the meetings are open, so people who think they're gonna wanna fill those positions in the future could start doing them now. And if we get the bylaw, if we change the bylaws in March to expand the Board of Trustees, I don't know if people who want to serve, I think they would probably have to wait another year before they can be elected, but I'm not sure about that.
And maybe that's an end goal, but I think in the next 6 months, that's not
Yeah.
particularly viable. But again, it's maybe something we get going for a year and we sit down and talk about it. And, again, a year from now, everything's kind of on the table. I mean, I personally am not averse to anything, right? I just want the building to be taken care of, the library to have space they need, people to have a community space to go to if they want to. That's pretty much the goal.
Well, what I'm hearing is you're talking about creating a new board.
Yes.
What Dina's talking about is just expanding the current library
That's correct.
board to encompass the community center board. That's 2 very different things.
They are 2 very different things. And as I said, expanding the board of trustees is a whole different world.
Mhm.
That's an elected position. So, whereas creating a new board that oversees the whole shebang is something I think would be easier for us to do. But I don't know. Once I start looking into this, I'd be like, well, if you're using town funds through the treasurer issuing warrants, you've got to create this, you've got to write a chart. We'll just have to see. I don't know what the answer is going to be.
Wouldn't it be cleaner and easier for the community center board to expand? Because they're their own 501c3.
Well, they're not anymore.
I don't think so.
They lost that.
Yeah.
Oh,
They lost that a couple years ago. So, but that's been the problem. I mean, that'd be exactly the same thing we're doing now. Why do I need the community center board to pass through rent and have them oversee the building? I would like to have one organization that the building and the library are it's all the same thing. It's all the same organization. So I'll expand on what I wrote for the last thing including a lot of the stuff that's been here as kind of a working document, again, a vision, and we'll talk about this again in 2 weeks. You don't have to be here. I'll send it to the board of trustees and Friends of Lydia so you all can look at it. You saw it one page that I did before the last meeting. I'll expand it based on inputs and come out with what I think the structure might look like. Free to change. I'm not wedded to anything. I feel like that's stupid. I was in the military for 20 years, you're not going to offend me. And you're like, don't do that anymore. I don't know what you're talking about. You're crazy. So.
This is my final input on this, is that what I don't want to see happen is I don't want us to continue talking about two boards, because when there were two boards, the library, it didn't work for us, right?
Yeah.
So if we create a new board, what's going to be different, right? If we have one organization that is a community center and library, and they have one board and one mission, which is to serve our community, then we're all working towards the same goals,
Right.
which
You
is
want
to
that to be the
serve.
board of trustees.
Say again?
You want that to be the board of trustees.
Or merge them into a new, is that what you're thinking? It doesn't matter as long as there's one?
Well, if we're going to have to change the name of the organization, change that's a bylaws change for the library, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
If we're going to expand the board, that's a bylaws change. So, all of these things are going to, have to happen the way they have to happen. But I'm just saying that if we think of the work that we're doing as all under the same mission, right? I think that will work better than if we're thinking of, well, there's going to be this board and some of our people will go there, and there's going to be that board and some of their people will come here.
Right, and that's the goal. It has to be one or the other. So let me show this out, board of trustees. Why do we have you?
I beg your pardon?
Why do I need a board of trustees?
So, since I'm newly elected, right, I had to research this and figure it out. And it's to kind of like ensure that taxpayer money is being used wisely, because it is funded, it's municipal library. So when you start to incorporate the community center into this for a town-owned building, that's where the question is really, like, do you want the mission of the community center initially was, we're not going to use taxpayer money.
Mm-hmm.
But the library is using taxpayer money. So
Right.
when you combine things and it gets a little muddy, then we're left with this dilemma of, like, how do you parcel out what's taxpayer money versus what's not? Now, even the library is not 100% dependent upon taxpayer dollars. We have to do a lot of fundraising to pay for the things that actually make us a library, like books and materials and programming. That's not funded by the taxpayer dollars. That's funded by generous donations from the community. So the purpose of a library trustee is shepherding those tax dollars, right?
Right.
So now I'm not really sure if the question that you're asking is if the purpose of an elected position is necessary in a combined board, or if it's the exact opposite.
Right. Maybe the board of trustees is the way to go.
I interpreted both yours and both Tina's as being one just board. I didn't see the
It is.
communication.
It's just what it is. The board of trustees is always going to be there. So there is always that one entity, right? Unless we get rid of it, which I don't think we can. So that's always going to be there. The second board is the one I'm thinking of, as opposed to the community center board. It's a library board, but it's not a board of trustees, because basically you all give us a budget and we give you taxpayer dollars and you shepherd those taxpayer dollars.
Correct.
The other organization does not.
Right.
Right. They're not going to supply. I mean, we know what the operating, but essentially we're taking over the money that's used to maintain the building itself.
Right. So it's still part of the trustee budget.
Yep.
Except it's not called rent anymore. Now it's called operating expenses.
Right.
And then, as to my point about the fact that the funds that are actually necessary to run a library are not 100% funded by the town.
That's right.
Right. So now we're incorporating the funds of the community center, and again, reliance upon fundraising. To what you were saying before.
That is how we run the fire department.
I beg your pardon?
That is how we run the fire department as well.
Right.
So I look at them as the same sort of thing. They're both town needs that are not 100% paid for by the town.
Right.
So maybe in lieu, what we'll come up with is in lieu of waiting to expand the board of trustees, which will take a while, is we have an interim board that takes the load off Randy and Lester Dunkley, I knew it. I drive by his place all the time. So that they're relieved of the maintenance of the building, and that body that we create is to transition until we can get a board of trustees expanded.
You mean in March?
In March. To follow
Also a
the-
6-month board, basically.
Right, so 6 months until next town meeting, and then the presentation to the town is, we're gonna expand the board of trustees, and what we've been doing for the last 6 months is overseeing the transition away from a community center to a, whatever we wanna call it, library, community center, library, whatever.
It's
Library,
still a
community
public
center.
space. It's a Dummerston
It's still a public space, and it will be overseen by the board of trustees,
Right.
which will be expanded to some number.
When you say at town meeting, we would expand the library, the trustees board. Whoever, so it's at 5 now? If we want to make it 7, those people couldn't be elected right now because we haven't expanded it yet. That would have to wait till the next year.
We could appoint.
They could be appointed.
We could appoint those extra 2.
Right.
There are 2 people that want to do it, and they would be there until the next. I don't know what the term is for the board of trustees. 3 years, 2 years, alternating.
5.
It's
The
5.
term currently is 5 years.
Right. So we could appoint somebody for a year until next town meeting.
Yeah, that we can only appoint for a year.
Yeah, until next town meeting, and then they would run.
Okay.
Right. And then just as the trustees have roles of the treasurer, we have a chair, we would have a building person.
Yeah, and a
Right.
scheduler
It's the
and a
same,
fundraiser.
you know, we all have roles
Yep.
that we play.
Yes.
So is the goal of all of this, we would have an interim committee that would put together this business plan essentially over the next 6 months and try to help manage pieces currently, like actually paying the bills and getting them.
Yes, we need to make
Okay.
sure the bills are getting paid.
That would be part of the committee and their job. So their job would be kind of managing what's happening, the day-to-day activities, and then also managing, creating a plan that we can
Yeah.
bring to the town meeting,
That's right.
basically. And so, and then the vote, I'm picturing in my mind is kind of to, do you like this plan, amend this plan, or sell the building? Is that kind of what they're looking?
I don't
It
think
would be-
selling the building is currently an option.
That never comes up. Okay, I'm just
No,
curious.
don't
It's
get
come
me
up many
started.
times.
Yeah.
Has been brought up.
With me on that.
I think that would be a whole committee,
Yeah.
yeah.
It'll come up, but you know, the questions, as we're going through the business plan, and somebody from here will probably help in that group of people that is doing this. And we know what questions are gonna come up. Why don't you sell the building? How much is it gonna cost us? How are you gonna repair the roof? You're
Right.
coming up with a bunch of stuff, but in the end, to a lot of people, it's just money. It's like, how much money are you gonna ask for? Right, we gave you more money last year. Right now, can you do this for what you say you can do it for?
Right.
And there's gonna have to be.
To give this to everybody, right? To make this something that
Yeah.
everyone can use so that they say,
Yeah.
yes, I want my tax dollars to go
Okay.
toward that.
And what you want is everybody to get on board,
Right,
right?
exactly.
But that's, you know, that's hard to do. But I think it's something that can easily be sold.
Yeah,
And I think it's important that people don't think that like this is a transition, and it's a transition to something that's going to be better for everybody, right? And we need to figure out, how to express it so that it comes across that way. Because we know what people say about the library. We've heard it all, right? But we're doing this as a way to better serve the whole community. So, yeah.
Well, I'll work on it then this week and over the weekend a little bit.
When the community center was a full board, how many members did you have on the board? 5. 5. So you're asking a board of 5 and a trustee board of 5 to merge to 7, and you think all the work's gonna get done?
Maybe it'll be 9. The thing is, I think that I was never at a community center meeting. I think the energy was sapped, is how I would say, to get things done before. And essentially, the Board of Trustees idea is to bring in people who are very interested in doing this work. I think if you add 4 people, let's say we go to 9, let's say you have 4 people who are focused on the things we talked about already, the scheduling, the fundraising, the paying of bills, the building maintenance, all that kind of stuff. I think the energy will be there. But as we know, maybe it's not. Right? Maybe somebody, and then all of a sudden we have a board of trustees of 9, and there's only 6 people filling the seats because somebody's like, you know what, this is more work than I expected. I understand that, and now we're sort of back in a position where the ones that are left are trying to figure out how to do all this work, right? So
It's not easy.
I've shifted back and forth, obviously, between the board of trustees expanding it something else that's easier, because again, you're still asking people to run for election, the board of trustees.
Right, but just like you said, the fire department has an auxiliary, and the library has Lydia's Friends.
Yeah.
There are these auxiliary organizations that contribute, and not everybody's on board. Some people are just volunteers who come in and do things, wherever that
I
might be.
something that personally, I think a 7-member board seems like plenty, as long as it's staffed, as long as you have everybody in it. Part of that, when you say there's a 5-year term, I think a lot of people have no interest in committing to 5 years. 2 or 3 is reasonable. If you say, can you commit to 5 years, who knows? And they just
And we have people who didn't fill out their full terms for various reasons. And anything happens in life, health reasons, you move, you
Maybe
get a
it's
new
part of the
job.
bylaws, we shorten the terms to.
Yeah.
Like
But
we have,
also,
we have twos and 3s. We don't have any 1s. We have 2s and 3s offset.
Mhm.
So somebody's like, you know what? I said I'd do this. I can do it for 2 years.
Right.
So I won't leave.
Right.
Or I'll do it for 3 years. And maybe we shorten the terms from 5 to 2 and 3 as part of this business plan to keep people more interested in.
Yeah.
I could do 2 years. I can walk away. Maybe I'll come back.
Mhm.
Or maybe I'll still be showing up at the meetings. I can still help you. I just don't want to be on the board.
Right.
Because again, you build that cadre.
If I may, when you have 7 people, 6 people, 10 people, whatever the board is, there's always going to be subcommittees and other people that volunteers and other people, as long as it's the job also of those currently 5, maybe 7 people to shepherd more people into it, because as a working board, you can't be the person that is scraping the lead off the building.
Right.
You could be, but you can't be the only person doing that.
That's right.
And so I feel like if the goal is to get the community to get us to feel confident, to be able to show the community that we do have lots of people on board helping with this, and it's not just 5 trustees running this whole thing.
So Marvin, I see your hands. Marvin Lewis joined us online. Marvin, what do you have to say?
Yes, hello. Sorry about that. I was like mid typing to see if I could introduce myself. Hello, everybody. My name is Marvin Luna.
Go ahead.
Oh, yes. And so, sorry, I'm like in the middle. I'm working right now, but I just wanted to interject to say that I was interested in being a part of the trustees of the library and kind of acclimating myself into the environment of what we're proposing. I was really interested in all the possibilities of just working with the community. I think this is kind of a difficult transition, but I'm very optimistic about the whole proposal. And I just wanted to introduce myself and just talk to anybody that was interested and would like to start kind of that process.
Well, that sounds good. I think that's what's going to happen, and your name will be on the list. I know Dina's got it, and the board has it. So as it starts to form up, you'll get contacted for whatever get-togethers we're going to have to figure out the business plan and the transition plan and what we think we're going to present to the town in March. So that's great. Thank you for dialing in while at work.
Wonderful. Thank you guys for giving me the space to at least introduce myself. I got to get back to vacuuming, but I'll be listening definitely.
All right.
Are we going to discuss it all?
Well, that's yeah, we can. So let's go on from in the room. So Samuel Bledsoe, see Friends of Lydia?
Friends of Lydia.
Yes.
Right. So again, another person, he sent this earlier today about his idea of fundraising. Did you guys get this from him?
Yes, we did.
Okay, so everybody has it. I don't know that it's really well written.
It's very well written. Two proposals that are very interesting to consider.
Yes.
And part of all of the ideas that we're going to be pulling together.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
And
obviously.
he's even got revenue ideas in there, which is great.
Right.
Yeah.
There's one that seems like not just a hypothetical about a tutoring program that could bring in $600 a month.
Yes.
That's incredible.
Yes.
That's a lot.
And the Brattleboro Winter's Farmers Market's a little small. Maybe they could be in our building. Anyway,
Could I ask what the proposals are? Because
you can have that, take it home.
They just came in like 2 hours ago.
Can I just say, these are, knowing Sam, these are just sort of brainstorm ideas. Like, these are not ideas that he's talked about with the friends.
Yep.
Like, they're not ideas he's talked about with the library. They're just brainstorming.
I'm sure he'll show up when we have these chats. Because again, these are things that can be built into the business plan. Ideas that can happen.
Right.
Because it's going to be comforting to people to hear that we have things we want to do. And here's a laundry list of things we want to do. Are all of them going to come to fruition? No. But are a bunch of them going to happen? Yes. And this is how you build the organization and the community center, library, and the fundraising. So there's a fund to take care of the building. So if anybody else wants to copy this, there's more copies on the table. Paul, you can't have a copy because you have it in your email and you're not here.
I already read it.
All right. All right. So is there anything else? So I'm going to flesh out some of this stuff in a document. I'll get it sent to everybody and we'll figure out, maybe we won't do it here. We'll start some kind of every 2 or 3 weeks get together with people who want to be part of this. And we'll just start gathering the forces.
So our next steps are to meet again with the outline of a business plan. Is that correct?
I think so. Yeah, the business plan and what we want the future. Yes, the business plan.
Okay.
And so we'll set up we'll get a meeting set up where we can spend an hour or whatever, an hour and a half yelling at each other and making changes and just working through it over the next number of months. I think we need, as we're working through this, we need a caretaker to work on the day-to-day.
We do.
Bill paying, building maintenance. At least that part of it. So that things don't fall apart, windows are replaced, stuff like to relieve Randy. So if you have an idea of somebody who essentially would be put on the community center board to do that, then let us know.
Well, I mean, like I said, I'm willing, I assume the electric bill is in somebody's name and it goes to their mailbox, right? So we don't know when the electric bill needs to be paid. But if the electric bill was somehow finding its way to us, whether it's addressed to Lydia Taft Pratt Library or, Joe Schmo, we can put it on our warrant for the town to pay it.
Yep.
But I don't know if we're talking about changing changing the name on the electric bill to either the library or the town of Dummerston.
Right. We have to untangle that web because the community center, I'm sure, has their own account where there's money to pay the bills. That has to be figured out.
Right. We have to transition it. And
How do we
then all
access
of
the
a list of all the vendors for the heating oil and the, everything else that it takes to operate.
And I'll be getting that from Randy.
Okay.
But I just want to come back to this though, because people keep saying we need someone to handle the day to day, and we're in there day to day,
Yeah.
But as far as I can tell, there's only 4 bills that get paid. There's electricity, there's oil, there's lawnmower guy, and
Insurance.
insurance. You know, so that's not day to day. That's like not it's not a hard thing to accomplish,
Sure.
right? And we were already paying for cleaning. And you know, I mean, like, just I don't know how it was more than 5 years ago, but I can say that in the last 5 years there hasn't been a lot of day-to-day maintenance stuff going on. You know, at some, like, Catherine volunteered to take on scheduling, like, as of when? As of tomorrow? Because if it's you know, I know there's, well, I think there was an attempt at some point to put together a website for the community center. I mean, this is another example of if we joined resources, all of that information could be on one website, you know, as far as like how to schedule, like when to, you know, all that kind of stuff. So, you know, I don't know that there's like an immediate, like someone has to step up right now, because we don't even know what they're stepping up for.
I mean, there is. I mean, we just walked into the insurance bill wasn't paid, so now I'm running that down. The window fell in.
That's my
Cleaning
question. What
hasn't been
happens
going
with
on
the
for a
window?
month. The lawnmower guy hasn't been paid.
Right.
There's a bunch of urgent things that need to be taken over that Randy can't do right now. So we need somebody now. Maybe once they get that unsorted or sorted, it's already unsorted. Once they get it sorted, it's a thing. When I say day to day, I'm just talking about the maintenance and payment.
So is the process that you're gonna handle this stuff with Randy, or is it that we need to set up a meeting with a bunch of us, with you and Randy?
I'll get all the information from Randy, and when we sit down and meet, that'll be one of the things that I'll bring. Randy can come if he wants, but he doesn't have to. We'll have all the records, how much it costs, where's the money, what checking account are you paying it out of, where the bill's being sent to, all that stuff, so we can figure out what to do with it.
Okay.
Yes.
And in the meantime, like you're saying, the day-to-day person, who's the point person that somebody calls if the lawn people don't show up for 3 weeks and we need to call them? Like, who would
There's
it
no
be that?
answer to those kind of questions.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. This is
It
why
was
this is the
Randy.
first step is who is going to do this, right? Because it's hard to get hold of Randy. So we need that person, somebody who can be like, you know what? Basically what I tell Randy is you give all your people a new phone number, and here's a new phone number.
Right.
And this is the person that will answer and return calls.
Okay.
If they're not getting paid, or if they haven't been paid, or whatever. So that kind of needs to be in place sooner rather than later.
So as the library community, our first job is to try to help you or to find a person that will
Sure.
be this contact
If
person.
you have somebody's like, listen, I'm home all the time. I live in the West Village. They can call me on the phone. And that's really the first step of sorting everything.
Got it.
Because again, you know, suddenly with the insurance bill, I'm like, has this been paid? Has it not been paid? I couldn't get hold of anybody. Then I got hold of the insurance company, and like, no, we think it's been settled. I'm like, I guess we think is good enough.
Until you need a claim, and then
Until you need a claim, where you call me 6 months later and go, you never had insurance.
Right.
So.
Right.
So right, that'll be first thing on the list, and that'll be something I'll send out. If you have somebody who you think might be willing to be that phone call, and they're not going to be getting endless phone calls. They should have a list of these are 6 or 7 things that are done. Your name's going to be the person for at least a month or two, and it may become someone else in a minute, but we just need somebody to answer the phone.
And that person would, so Dina would, if I were to do this, Dina would call me and say, hey, the window fell out today. And then I would figure out what to do.
Right.
with that.
Or she says the cleaners didn't show up.
Right. And then I call the cleaners.
Right. Hey, why weren't you there? You know, the bathroom
I'm
session.
saying not volunteering yet. Yeah.
Just the pronoun, not you. Right. So I'll send out a list of things that we have right now by the end of this week.
Great.
And everybody kind of look at it and go, right, let's get together in a couple of weeks, not on a select board meeting, and just bring coffee and tea and shoot this thing, you know, get some sticky notes and figure out what we want to do.
Okay. Sounds good.
But there's definitely a lot of people. When Catherine's got a list of 5 or 6 people, like, yeah, I'm in. So there obviously is a group because you're all here. I want to make it smoother and more efficient, and again, a better experience for everybody.
Thank you so much for
I got nothing else to do.
doing this.
Just gonna go walk my dog. All right, well, thank you all for coming. You don't have to stay if you don't want to. You want to see how the sausage is made?
We'll watch it on TV.
Well, yeah, that's even worse. You can watch YouTube videos.
I mean, yeah.
All right, so for us that are still here,
It sounds like a good.
we have a grant and aid agreement,
Yeah.
which is in the road crew form. Basically, it's an agreement that I'll sign for the town. It's for a $29,000 grant for this year, which I believe Lee already has a project that's going to use that money, which is part of his planning. Unless you want to read the 16 pages, which you don't. I would make a motion we sign the $29,000 State of Vermont Agency of Transportation Grant and Aid Agreement.
I'll second it.
And a second from Tom. Any further discussion on it? Any questions that I can answer or not answer? All right, so all those in favor of signing the grant and aid agreement, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against? All right, what's today? The 3rd, the 4th?
Third.
3. So I'm gonna do this now. You're all gonna have to just listen while I speak to myself, or I'll forget. All right, that's done. All right, we have a curb cut permit for Peter David and Jocelyn Roderick on Sunset Lake Road. They filed the application. It's for a second driveway. I'm not an engineer. Does anybody have anything that they... Here's the... Oh, I can't show you the drawing. Hey, zoom in on the drawing. I want Paul to see the drawing. There's the drawing, Paul.
Okay,
Do you have any concerns with them putting in a second driveway?
no,
All right. I make a motion we approve the access permit curb cut for the Roderick David property.
I'll second it.
okay.
All right. Any further discussion? Thirds is still third. All right. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. All those against? I think we lost Skip, in case you're wondering.
Okay.
September 2025. By me. Select board. All right. Well done. I'll leave those for those. Clear out. We have a letter of interest from, any questions on the correspondence for information? Nothing hot on that. We have a letter of interest from Amy Wall for an appointment to the Social Services Committee. Do we want to meet her or do we want to appoint her? What's everybody's opinion?
I'm good with the appointing, so, okay.
All right. So if you don't know, and I didn't, the Social Services Advisory Committee, they're the ones that oversee all of the requests for social services. So in the budget, which some of you have seen, there's a whole section in the general budget fund under health and welfare. Just let me roll down here really quick. Planning, zoning, municipal building, fire department, health and welfare. So the AIDS Project of Southern Vermont, the Brattleboro Area Hospice, Senior Meals, River Transit, Dummerston Cares. So all of the applications for money from those organizations go to the SSAC, who then look them over and give us recommendations.
Mhm.
And there's not a lot of change to it every year, but that's what they do. So I would say, I mean, I know I've met Amy, she's been the Conservation Commission. So I would make a motion that we appoint Amy Wall to the Social Services Advisory Committee.
I'll second it.
All right, second from Tom. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor of appointing Amy Wall to the Social Services Committee say aye.
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 Aye. All those against? And we're gonna move into the new business and shuffle here. So, go ahead.
To back up, when we voted on, you said Skip was no longer, so
He's not yet. He has not voted.
So he has not voted.
So it's
Even on the grant aid and the
that's
curb
right.
cut?
He has not voted since we've come back to voting.
Okay.
Good question, though.
Yep.
In the new business section, I'm just going to bump up appointment of Windham Regional Commission Representative Michelle Simpson, who is here. I make a motion we appoint Michelle Simpson to the second Windham Regional Commission Rep seat for Dummerston.
I hear Paul second it.
Paul second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of appointing Michelle Simpson to the Windham Regional Commission, say aye. Aye. All those against. All right, EWPP stuff. We're going to be here Monday night. Woo! So all these contracts are almost done. The line of credit, the bank kind of dragged their feet on, but they did approve the line of credit for the full value of the $301,755. So they should send that to me Monday. The contract for Bazin Brothers is almost done. Bazin Brothers is reviewing it, so we shouldn't have any questions. And the EWPP contract with the property owners is in their hands, so they can look at it. So the dream is when we hear 6 o'clock on Monday, Maria will post a agenda of Lori. Should take maybe 15 minutes, and we'll sign all three of those at the same time. And then we will go home, and then we'll be done with that project, aside from writing checks from the letter of credit and then filing those with the state to get reimbursed. Budget schedule. Maria, when do you want to start?
As soon as possible.
So do you want to start, so we meet on the 17th? That's our next meeting?
That's our next meeting, yes.
Do you want to start alternating weeks then? So start on the 17th and 25th and then alternate every week?
Yeah, or the 24th, right?
Or 24th, yes, all right. So
Yeah.
after our next select board meeting on the 17th, we'll start meeting every other week to do budget starting on the 24th.
Okay.
And I'll get together with you. I'm trying to put together a package for everybody to have. And so I'll get together and make sure I've got all the right data from last year's for a starting point.
I've already sent Chris the worksheets to fill in his columns.
All right.
So.
All right. Well, I'll talk to Chris and also make sure that so people can either, I know you print them, but there'll be a soft copy to start with. If people want to have them at home, we can tinker with it or whatever. So, okay, so we'll start on 24 September.
And then we should send out to all the committees to have their budget requests to us by, say, the middle of October.
Okay. Assuming we'll get them by the middle of November?
Yeah. So if we pick...
Who usually sends it out, Lori, or should we do it?
I do it usually.
Okay, yeah, I'd send it out. Tell them...
October 22nd?
Whatever night a meeting aligns to for budget.
Yeah, I'll look and see.
Yeah, whatever that is.
Whatever.
Mid-late October.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. All right. Outstanding ARPA funds.
Yes.
This came up with Randy. I asked him. They still have some money they haven't spent.
Yeah, and they have money that they have spent, and they've written a check, but they haven't submitted the reimbursement for the flooring in the big room.
Right.
But they're not the only ones.
This money that's been allocated, right? It was allocated by the deadline, just not spent.
Yep. I mean, Lee's got some engineering that he's got out. The community center has the flooring. They have a main room door and basement windows near the sink that we allocated for. The town office has stripping the floor and re-waxing it.
Sure, I can do that.
And planning commission has a grant match, which I'm assuming we'll probably use.
Right.
And the rec board goes way back. They've got electricity in the rec shed and updated sports equipment. And unfortunately, if we don't spend this money, I don't think we can reallocate it. It has to go back to treasury.
And what do we have till the end of the year?
We have to spend it till the end of 2026.
All right, so let's fire a warning shot to all these people. If you just want to send out and go, hey, you have to give us a status on this by, let's just say, the same October date.
Okay, yep.
Have you done it? Are you going to do it? Like, what's going on?
Yep.
So, and kind of light a fire underneath them and go, if you need help, ask. But we need to track this.
Okay.
So that leaves 2 emails for you.
Yep.
All right. And all those people that you're going to email, they all have gotten other money. They know the process.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that can be like, I don't know how to do this.
Oh, no, they've had other projects,
Okay.
so.
All right. Well, that's a good update then.
Yep.
All right. Unfinished business. I have none. Upcoming agenda, regular meeting on the 17th, although actually the next meeting will be Monday at 6 on the 8th here. And then the 17th here for a regular meeting.
Mhm.
Paul, are you still going to be gone?
That will be, when?
Monday.
No, I'll be back Monday.
Okay. Well, just pop in the office at 6 o'clock and we'll knock this stuff out.
Yep.
All right. That's all I have. Anything else?
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
All right, I'll second.